questions? Go ahead, please.
Sir, I want to know more about the DDoS and DOS attack.
What more means? Just ask me. You have to be
Uh,
very specific.
um, More explanation about the DDoS and DOS attack.
DOS attack is try to make the services unavailable to the legitimate users. I will explain it more when I will cover the attacks. It was just an introduction, so don't worry, it will come more. Let's take an example. You have there is a server which has the ability to handle 200 connections. Correct? As a hacker, I sends 200 bogus requests to that connection. So all those 200 connections are being utilized. Now, if a legitimate user try to access that server, then all the 200 connections are being utilized by a hacker, and the server says, no, I can't help it out. I can't provide you the information because I'm all utilized. So that is a DOS attack. Like utilizes all the services, all the connections, all the resources, so that it can't serve its legitimate users. That is another example. This is how it works. The main purpose is to, like, I'm there taking a class, I can handle certain questions. After that, I will be like exhausted. I can't help it out. Like, I won't be able to, if someone comes to me, I will say, no, I can't help it out. So this is our DOS attack. Like, you utilize all the services so that, like, for example, there are servers. Every server has a limited capability. Okay, the servers are there. Suppose there is a HTTP server which can handle 500 connections, 500 users. There is a hacker who has sent bogus 500 requests to HTTP server. Now all 500 requests are being used. If a legitimate user go and make a request, that server will say, no, I can't help it out because all my resources are utilized. Hope this makes sense.
Yeah.
So this is how it works. Don't worry. There are different methods of uh, DOS and DDoS. We will cover when I will cover attacks with you. Okay, but for that, you need to have an understanding of protocols and all. So sometimes these are just beginning. Just like I explained you about hashing, it was just on an introductory term. When I will cover cryptography, I will cover that in detail with you. Okay. So,
Okay.
okay. So it will be covered more. Now, what is asset? Asset is anything which is of value to the organization. It can be tangible like software, hardware, intangible like data, information, people, and even reputation. So recognizing the range of organization asset is vital in identifying the potential vulnerabilities and safeguarding against the threat vectors. So you have to, before you go ahead and finds out other things, you have to identify all assets in the organization. So I just show you one thing. You see, this was the sheet. It was opened from a previous class. So you can see it over here. These are the different assets which organizations have. So we have created these assets into different groups. Like you can see, hardware. Okay, we have hardware, laptops, desktops, RSA tokens, desk phones, mobile phones. Similarly, you have networks, switches, routers, servers. You have softwares. Okay, and it also have information, SOPs. SOPs stand for Standard Operating Procedures, documents, emails, backups configuration files, your vendor and third-party MFA agreements, asset management document. It also have organization processes like build design process, physical process, logical access process. So first is you need to identify. So when I give this statement, recognizing the range of organization assets is vital in identifying potential vulnerabilities and safeguarding against threat actors. Okay, hope that is clear. Next one, vulnerability. Vulnerability is weakness in a system that can be exploited. Let's take an example. Antivirus in a system is not updated. That is a vulnerability. A guard is sitting, sleeping on a duty. That is a vulnerability. You are not aware of deep fakes attack or any new attack which is there in the market. That is a vulnerability. So vulnerability refers to a condition in a system that, whether intentionally or accidentally, causes a security flaw. This compromises the system security. Effective management of vulnerability is crucial for enhancing system security and preventing breaches. Then, what is threat? Any potential danger to our system, any potential danger which has a potential to cause harm to a system or a data. Like, for example, antivirus is not updated, correct? That's a vulnerability. How this can be exploited, how this can, how this vulnerability negative, if exploited, can cause negative harm to the system. Hacker can hack your system, so hacking is a threat. Malware can infect your system, so malware infection is a threat. The potential danger, the actions which can be taken on the vulnerability is threat. Threats can be intentional threats. These are deliberate, malicious attempts to harm our system or steal data. Like, for example, I find out antivirus is not updated or data is not encrypted. Okay? So I will try to read the data. Suppose I find out that you are sending the data in a clear text format. So I will deliberately install Wireshark tool to read your data or steal your data. That is intentional threats. Unintentional threats, these are accidental events that can cause damage even when not intended to be malicious. Like, for example, some employee accidentally discloses the data to unauthorized party. So that is unintentional threats. Natural floods, earthquake, fires that can damage computer hardware or destroy data. Threat is an action, potential danger. And what is threat agent? It's a potential, it's not a potential danger, it's a agent which performs an action. Like, for example, antivirus is not updated. That is a vulnerability. What are the potential dangers associated with it? Hacker can hack your system, so hacking is a threat. Malware can infect your system, okay, then and make your system run slow. So slowness is a threat. Now, hacker who hacks your system is a threat agent, and a malware which is making your system running slow is a threat agent. Like, for example, if we get your health checkup done with any IT guy or people working in offices get their health checkup done, it would be like you will find deficiency of vitamin D. That is what? Vulnerability. Okay. Then you go, then what are the problems you can face? Potential dangers, bone weakness, okay, weakening of bones, liver problem, ricket, correct? These are what? Potential dangers, threat. Now, out of these three, ricket virus identify this vulnerability of yours, and and now you're suffering from ricket. So ricket virus is a threat agent. Is it clear? The difference between the relationship between agent, threat, and vulnerability.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then examples of threats to the assets. These are just like asset, server of the organization, vulnerability, weak firewall rule, hacking, threat is hacking, threat agent, hacker. What is a risk? The loss of critical organizational data. What is exposure? Exposure is like the percentage, the loss of a data. The what is the loss in percentage when when some hacks happens. Like for example, in this case, this server have 75% data encrypted, 25% unencrypted. So if someone is able to access this server in an unauthorized manner, so 75% of the data which is encrypted will not be exposed, but 25% will be exposed. So that is we called as exposure. Suppose there is a data warehouse. A fire breaks out and 60% of the warehouse is damaged. So exposure factor will be 60%. Suppose another example, there is a server. It someone is running a DDoS attack. And now this server is running at 60% of its efficiency. So 40% is your exposure factor. Risk loss of critical organization data. So what is risk? Always remember, although I will cover a separate topic with you on a risk management. Okay, so what is risk? Just give me a minute. Risk is defined as, so there are two factors. Risk, there is a definition. Risk is defined as product of probability of occurrence of threat agent exploiting the vulnerability and its corresponding business impact. Okay, so risk is simply defined as product of likelihood of threat agent exploiting the vulnerability and the impact that is caused. So let's take one example. In 2008, I used to work for HCL and there was a virus outbreak. Every now and then, we used to get an incident that this system is infected, that system is infected. So likelihood was very high. Okay, likelihood in that case was very high. Okay, but as it was impacting the user system, so impact was low. So if I talk about risk in general, pardon, I told you my writing is not good. So it is a product of likelihood into impact. So high into low, it is medium. So risk when user system was getting infected, the risk was medium. One day we got an email that CEO system got infected. So likelihood was already very high. This increases the impact to high. Now risk is a product of likelihood into impact. So high to very high, it becomes very high. So this is how risk is being calculated in a simplest manner. So risk is a product of probability, or we call it as likelihood or frequency into impact. If there is a risk of power outage, if there is a risk of if there is a risk of unavailability of me to take the class, okay, I need to find out the likelihood. Likelihood is not, I first need to know the likelihood. Likelihood is not very high because unless and until I'm ill or sick, I will take the class because I have other arrangements in place like internet problems and all that. So here it is low. But if I'm not able to take the class, what will be an impact? Impact will be high. This class impact will be medium because yes, it's my own class. We can set up the class next week or I will cover it next day. But at the same time, if I'm taking a corporate batch where they have specified full 5 days for me, and if I'm not able to take the class, that there will be a loss of around 20,000, 25,000 rupees for me on a daily basis. So that is how risk is calculated. Don't worry, this is just the beginning. We will be covering risk assessment and management in detail with the sheet that I've covered it with you. Hope it is clear. Any questions on it? Someone has unmuted the mic but didn't say anything. I didn't hear. Is it clear?
No, Ajit, it was me. All good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so examples of risk. Okay, I just showed you one thing. Give me a minute rather than this. Give me a minute. See this. This is the asset, laptop, correct? Mhm. This is laptop. So look at, so when you are calculating the risk, first you have to identify the assets, find out the threats and vulnerabilities related to these assets, and find out the likelihood and impact of it. So let's take one example here. Okay. Let's take one example here. We have vulnerability, absence of periodic review of a physical access control logs. Okay. Now, what is a threat? If you're not reviewing physical access control logs, then there are chances that it can lead to unauthorized physical access. Correct? And once you find out threat and vulnerabilities, find out the impact and likelihood. Got my point? Similarly, look at other one. In the absence of inadequate training on emergency response among the employees, means employees are not given training about how to respond to an emergency situation. This is a threat. What is a vulnerability? Business continuity and fire drills practice on define what is a vulnerability. Sorry, this one. Inadequate awareness on emergency response procedure. Fine, this is threat and vulnerabilities identified. Like I identified that there is a threat that I can't take this class. Okay. And then I need to identify what are the likelihood and impact, because likelihood and impact determine the risk. Okay. So examples of risk: threat agent, fire; threat, destruction of operating facility; vulnerability, faulty fire detections of suppression equipment; risk scenarios, loss of property or life; clueless user, a threat agent; threat, sharing of sensitive data using social engineering; vulnerability, lack of security awareness training; risk scenarios, financial loss or reputational loss; malicious insider, data theft; threat is data theft; vulnerability, lack of adequate access control on our data. These are, and then you can have legal or financial risk. Hacker, unauthorized hacking; threat is unauthorized hacking; unpatched server is a vulnerability; and server unavailability or financial loss. These are examples of your threat agent, threat vulnerabilities, and risk scenarios. Don't worry, we will have a separate topic. I will spend 3 hours on risk assessment for you.